my name is Stacy. I work with the models here at Zulily. Today we are going to talk about 2020 eye makeup trends, and I'm going to show you how to do a mint pastel eye look. Alright, so the first step when you're doing an eye makeup look, what I like to do is I like to prime my eyelid first. I'm going to be using a light concealer and a white concealer. Today I'm going to mix both just to kind of give myself a really good base so my eyeshadow will lay down. So you just want to buff it really easy with a very densely packed concealer brush, just all over the lid. And then I just take a damp sponge, make sure it's all even. Then I'm going to take some translucent powder and I'm just going to set my eyelid. I'm going to take a really big fluffy blending brush and I'm going to dip into my first shade, and it's going to be this really pretty mint shade. Alright, so this is actually going to go in our crease. I typically start at the middle of my eye. I don't ever start on the inside, and then I use whatever's left on the brush and work to the inside of my eye crease. Alright, now I'm going to do the other eye. So I'm going to take this darker mint shade, and I'm just gonna start going right in my crease. And I just try to really concentrate that color. And we're gonna do the same thing on this eye. And then I'm gonna take that original brush that we were using to blend the light mint shade and just buff that out. So next we're gonna add a little bit more depth into our look. I'm gonna dip back in because I want this one to be a little bit darker. And I like to stamp it first. Now we are actually going to cut the inside of our crease. So all of that green that you see here on the inside of my eyes, I'm actually gonna make that go away. Just gonna use like a regular concealer this time. You can definitely use whatever you used on your face. And now I'm just gonna start cutting my crease. Mine is about right here. I'm gonna do a half one today for this look. Alright, now we're gonna put on our lid shade. So the inner corner lid shade, today I'm gonna use this really, really pretty shimmery light mint color, and it's just gonna make it really, really pop. And I'm just following that natural line that we created with the concealer. Then I'm gonna take our densely packed brush that we used for our outer corner, and I'm gonna take that and I'm just gonna run that over where we just put that shimmer shade on both eyes. Alright, so you can definitely stop there, or you can keep going. I like to blow out my lower lash line a little bit, especially when I do a more intense look. And I'm going to take some of that same shade that we used for our outer corner, and now I'm just going to start bringing it down to this very outer part of my lower lash line, just to kind of marry the top and the bottom together. And then I also like to take my large fluffy blender and just kind of like go over all of that. One more step, I'm gonna take a smudger brush and I'm just gonna take kind of like a cooler tone, and I'm gonna keep bringing that color all the way into my inner lash line. So that is it for the shadow. You can definitely add a little bit more by adding like a little inner corner highlight. So I'm gonna add that glittery shade. It just adds a lot more brightness. And then you can also take that same shade and you can put it on your brow bone. I always like to take my blender again and just kind of like make sure that's all blended. So now you're just gonna add some mascara, and I'm gonna add false lashes today, and then I will show you the final look. All right, and then once you have that done, this is your finished look. All right, so that wraps up our pastel eye look. Make sure that you like this video and comment below with your own pastel eye looks, and I'll see you in the next video.